Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, a WWE star has made a miraculous recovery.
An update on Dijak's WWE contract status.
News of a WWE wrestler who's leaving in June.
And why this angle was scrapped from Monday Night Raw. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Alright, we're going to kick this one off by talking about last night's NXT a little bit here.
Breaking, dude.
Because Wesley is back way ahead of schedule, which is really good.
Fantastic.
Obviously. He had an angle on last night's show where, spoiler alert, he confronted Obafemi after his match with Ivar, which was this. I've not watched it yet, but I have watched the angle, and the angle was well done. He confronted him after Obafemi had beaten Ivar. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry. Watch this show. And he kind of sprung all about the place, looking sprightly, looking happy, looking healthy, looking moderately wealthy, I assume. Yeah. It just rhymes. And when it seemed initially, as of like 5 months ago, that he was going to be out for like a year. If you go back to, I think it was either early December or late November, Wesley in the ring, crutches, distraught, absolutely distraught. He'd had a back injury, suffered a major problem, going to be out 8 to 12 months, might even have to retire because of it. He's back within 4 or 5 months. It's like John Cena-esque in terms of the Lazarus recovery here. There's a report from Fightful, Corey Brennan for Fightful Select, noting that Lee is fully cleared to return to the ring. Although as initially thought he might need to miss up to a year with retirement a real possibility, he's back. NXT apparently want to have plenty of star power heading into the brand's move to the CW later this year, so hey, Wesley could factor into that. But this is just a really nice story because at one point it looked like we might never see this bloke wrestle again, and now he's less than half his recovery. It's legitimately a miracle.
Like when he came out last night, first of all I was so confused. His music hit and I thought, that sounds like Wesley's music, but that's not possible. Then he came out, he walks through the crowd, and I'm like, right, is he going to say, obviously I can't fight for the title for another half a year, but I'm endorsing this person, and someone else comes out. And then he springboarded off the barricade onto the steps, and I thought, well, I guess he's all right then.
Yeah, he's fine.
Really happy for him. He's a phenomenal performer. He's been a great champion in NXT. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they change their mind and say, actually, let's move you up to the world title picture, because he's just amazing to watch.
Yeah, you'd imagine maybe he'll put Obafemi over.
Maybe,
obviously, it's Wesley's title, right? He's the best North American champion of all time. He's the guy who's primarily associated with that belt for what he did while he was holding it. In a lot of people's eyes. But yeah, it's always nice to see someone reply way ahead of schedule. And because he's cleared, it means doctors have looked at him, they've decreed he's fine to take bumps and do whatever else. This is just a nice way to start the video, a nice way to start the day. Happy to see him back.
Absolutely. Sticking with NXT as well, obviously numerous people from that show moved up to the main roster in the WWE draft. You had Kiana James, of course, Ilya Dragunov, as we were expecting. I mean, Mello and Bron Breakker don't really count, but I suppose we'll include them in here. Blair Davenport, Lyra Valkyria. I do apologise if I've inexplicably forgotten someone in amongst all that.
Triple H.
Probably. Also, a supplemental draft saw Dijak move to the main roster. I suppose technically
Dijak face
back to the main roster. He was busy on his phone just ratioing people whilst all that was going on. But yeah, he's drafted back to main roster, back to Monday Night Raw. And then on Monday night, everyone was talking like, all right, what's Dijak's contract status? Everyone assuming he's signed a new deal. That is not the case according to Fightful Select. Corey Brennan looking into this.
Sorry.
He is yet to re-sign a new deal, despite being drafted to main roster. However, both sides are confident the deal will be reached. Fightful Select have also learned that Dijak's social media antics have drawn praise from the majority in NXT. Both Triple H and Shawn Michaels, big fans of his. Yet to have any definitive creative plans in place, but apparently they have been pitching several ideas, so expect big things when he makes the move to the main roster, I suppose, which is official technically next Monday. There had been outside interest in Dijak, although AEW, according to Brennan, did expect Dijak to re-sign with WWE, which makes sense. They've been really utilising him fantastically over the last, I'd say, probably half a year in NXT. He's had this weird sort of vigilante man with a booth that they can lock people in. I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I just think he's brilliant, and I think he was really misused when he moved up to the main roster last time. Hopefully better things this time.
Yeah, from T-Bar
Yes.
to very effective dude in NXT with the Dragunov matches and other ones. He's had a great run. Down on my least favourite show. But I always go out my way to watch Dijak matches because he gives you something hard hitting and worth watching. Not such a fan of the character. It's a bit corny. But I would imagine his creative on the main roster will be a bit less silly. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope they give him, when the Creed brothers arrived and they had their first match and the way they rolled that out with the video and the promo and everything. Like, I hope he gets an opening night like that where it's like, hey, this is a big deal. You should pay attention to this guy. I mean, everyone should get that, really. But it would be nice if they kind of copied that format when re-debuting Dijak over on the main roster too. I mean, he's immensely talented. He's always been immensely talented. I think that they should probably just push him really well. Yes, hot take there.
He could arguably move up and challenge a world champion without question. No one would. You look at him and you go like, you see that feast your eyes finisher. You see the repertoire he's got. Yeah, and I just think he could have an absolute banger with Gunther as well.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, that'd be sensational.
I'm running back with Dragunov, of course.
There's loads of people he could face. He's on Raw, right?
Yes.
Now, I keep forgetting these draft picks. Land of the big boys at the moment, Raw as well. So let's do it. I'd like to see him kill Logan Paul as a shoot. No,
more on Logan Paul, by the way.
Or hit that feast your eyes on a bunch of those goobers Logan Paul. I hate them. I hate all of these people.
As a fellow YouTuber looking to get a spot in that Prime bottle at next year's WrestleMania, I've got to say I'm a huge fan of them.
Right, let's move over and talk about Scripts. Do the voice.
Scripts.
There you go. Your mate.
Met him at Wale Mania. He's lovely.
He appears to be leaving WWE. He posted on his Instagram that I'm available from the 1st of June, and according to Fightful Select, his contract expires in June, presumably the 1st of June.
That would make sense.
That's why he posted it. He is on an inspiring deal. Just like I don't know who's inspiring.
Wesley and his powers of recovery.
There you go. Expiring deal, and he's been informed he's going to be a free agent. So presumably he's just not being renewed. He's been hanging out without the mud recently. Of course, he was the crazy hacker man for a while. He was Reggie on the main roster, started life as a sommelier. Had that just insanely fun match segment thing with Sasha Banks, where they just did a bunch of flips on each other, and it was a really good time. He comes from that. Is it Cirque du Soleil, his background?
I think so. Yeah.
So that's his athletic, his gymnastic background. That's why he's able to do these things. Like he was able to do these things so early in his career. I think he's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I have enjoyed watching him being fun on TV.
Yeah, the Scripps character now is a lot better than the Scripps character as it was, some sort of weird superhero who'd write sonnets on NXT. Even that for me was like, okay, I like a lot of NXT. This is a little bit weird.
Better NXT superhero, Scripps or Blake Christian?
I like Blake Christian.
Remember that? What were they doing with him?
It was weird. It's very weird. But he's still doing Ring of Honor stuff, isn't he? I saw him at a Ring of Honor show a while back.
He's awesome. He was on. He's the GCW champion.
Yeah, of course.
He was the last time. What was his name in WWE again?
I can't never remember.
Asher Thompson.
Yeah,
just one of them names.
But yeah, no, I'm incredibly biased with regards to Scripps and Reggie because we were hanging out at Wale Mania. He actually said to me, when you first reported about me coming to WWE and you were like, who the hell's this sommelier Cirque du Soleil guy? Apparently he said in the comments, guys, I'm right here if you want to have a chat. So apologies for missing that, Reggie. And best of luck, because he's been misused a little bit in NXT. I liked him without the mud. He had one of the first matches for the new talent they've got in NXT. Flippy guy who's awesome. He really made him look fantastic just the other week. I've completely forgotten what his name is. But yeah, I hope we see more of him because, like you say, athletically and acrobatically, he's just phenomenal.
Yeah, and there's always going to be a place for a guy who's that much fun to watch in wrestling. So that's a guy who's going to get a GCW booking. Joey Janela is going to go 15 minutes against him, and it's going to be awesome.
Best luck to him. And if you're watching and fancy having an interview on the channel and you want to promote some stuff, get in touch.
Yeah. There you go.
You know where we are. Right, let's talk a little bit about this weird angle from Monday Night Raw. Patrick Mahomes was, of course, in attendance. They were in Kansas City after all. And then he helped Logan Paul. He gave him his Super Bowl ring so he could chin Jey Uso. Whoops, accidentally chinned JD McDonough. What's going on with your face? Then Braun Strowman returned and got into it with Patrick Mahomes before Jey Uso said, leave it, Braun, he's not worth it. So Dave Meltzer has come through with a bit of a report on this, talking about why that happened and what could have actually happened with regards to Braun Strowman. Apparently they scrapped an angle where Braun Strowman was literally going to attack Patrick Mahomes, despite returning as a huge babyface, of course. So it would have instantly made him a heel on the night, despite the fact Patrick Mahomes was playing heel in his city where he's absolutely beloved. It's all a little bit weird. I will say the more reporting from Meltzer here says that this was a Prime directive. Obviously Patrick Mahomes is associated with Prime rather than a WWE directive. This is a little bit of a mess. I can understand elements of it, but I also understand for just like the layperson, they're like, that's all a little bit weird. Because I get it. He's a Prime guy, so obviously he would want to help Logan Paul. And he's a babyface in Kansas City, but literally everywhere else in the United States, he's a heel. But the Braun Strowman stuff was weird as well. I don't know what's going on, Andy.
It's a load of rubbish. Like, it's two things that it's actually three things that fundamentally don't work mixed in together. 3 Super Bowls in like 5 years or something he's won with the Chiefs, right? So of course he's going to be the babyface of the night in that building. They portray him as a heel by helping Logan. And then there's this stupid scrapped angle where Braun's going to attack him, but Braun's back as a babyface. But Patrick Mahomes, if you punch him in Kansas, you're a heel. But Patrick Mahomes is a heel on the night, but nobody's going to jeer him. So really, you're the heel. And it's a whole damn mess. It's just like sponsorship effery, really, isn't it? That's messing this up. Great. I wish I could swear properly. That's messing this whole thing up. Just get rid of these influencer weirdos. I'm aware we are like really low-level versions of that, but I'm fed up with them.
Disagree. Prime's delicious. Feed it to your children. There we go.
Watch CoffeeZilla.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE and X. Of course, we're going to get in touch with us. Ernest Gauker gives us our first question of the day. Like this question, Ernest. Thank you for this. Hey, legends. I was wondering your thoughts on the idea of a big, beefy championship. The idea would be to make a division around the physics-defying big men on all the brands. I like this. I had 2 ideas on it, Andy. Number 1, remember on 205 Live when Buddy Matthews, or whatever he was called, had to weigh in? I think you have to weigh over a certain amount to qualify for the Big Beefy Championship, and it should be sponsored by Arby's.
Progress did that with the Atlas Championship. Where it was like everyone, I think it was over 205, so it was like a fun flip. I can't remember the weight limit, but and that was fun. I don't know if they still have the belt. It's been a while since I've watched, but it was fun back in the day. It was guys like Gunther and the big boys. Joe Coffey was in that division, the big lads. So yeah, I'm in favour of this. Absolutely. I love big beefy boys. Get Omos back, getting on TV and in there.
Ivar and Obafemi was so good on NXT last night.
Super heavyweight division. Call it that. It's
absolutely.
Easy. Yeah.
And you could call it the Triple B Championship because no one has ever referred to a title as
the big beefy belt.
Big beefy belt.
It's made of bits of steak.
Tell you, Arby's, we have the meats. Never had an Arby's. All I've known is Arby's, meat. But also Arby's, whenever I hear like John Oliver make a joke about them, it's about horrific food poisoning. So
the pictures of it don't look very appetizing either. Maybe it is nice. Maybe it's one of those things that looks like ass, and just like a cheesesteak doesn't look good.
Yeah,
but it tastes good.
Oh my god!
Maybe it's the same principle.
Shout out to Ishka Bibbles,
the big man.
Right, second question today comes from Brian George, who says, morning guys, since Camille is now signed with AEW, could we see her assist Mercedes Moné in defeating Willow at Double or Nothing? P.S. I don't want Willow to lose the title ever, but it could be a good introduction to Camille.
I think this is a good idea. Camille rose to prominence in the first place, being the bodyguard of Nick Aldis in the NWA, which was like strong, silent, only really getting physical every now and then, so it meant something when she did, and then she gradually became a wrestler, and she was the champion for like 800, 900 days, whatever it was. So yeah, fundamentally this is a good idea, because she's done well in that role before. She would get over. She'd be tethered to a big star in Mercedes, and Mercedes also needs to turn heel. This current character direction is not working. No. She needs to get out of this loop of really rubbish, scripted, rehearsed, regurgitated promos. And look, everyone who has ever seen me talk about Mercedes Moné or Sasha Banks before knows that this is one of my favorite wrestlers, right? So it's not just ripping the content for the sake of it. I love her. I think she's incredible. This ain't it, and this is a good idea to get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, teaming those two would be a real power couple as well. Yeah, it's going to be weird because I agree. I don't want Willow to drop this title immediately, but kind of has to if it's Mercedes' first match.
It's pretty transparent, isn't it, what they've done? So, it is what it is. Poor Willow, but she'll be fine. She's she's the best babyface of all time. So
yeah, she's awesome.
It's fine.
Dale Bryant gives us our final question of the day. And Dale. No more Dale questions today. Does the draft need a revisit? Dale suggests, how about each show nominates 15 current stars to keep, gets 15 draft picks, 3 call-ups from NXT, and 2 steals. 5 retentions, 5 draft picks, 1 call-up, and a steal used at any time anyone left as a free agent. That's very complicated, so I'm just going to ask you generally, do they need to change the draft?
They need to cancel it. They need to get rid of it. Fundamentally, the draft is no longer compelling enough to fill a week of TV.
Yeah.
SmackDown was just the most sleepy show of all time, and then Raw was somehow even sleepier. It's just not an interesting enough concept anymore. Look, if you can't pick champions, if you can't pick the biggest stars, and you have a situation where like Drew McIntyre goes in like the 3rd round, it's like, what are we doing here? Like none of it makes any logical sense. So few people moved brands. The NXT call-ups were people who were maybe you wouldn't have called Kiana James, right? But she's certainly deserving of the spot. But most of the NXT call-ups were pretty obvious. Dijak and Dragunov and Lyra Valkyria. It's just not interesting enough. What you should do is scrap it as an event. It doesn't draw TV ratings anymore either. SmackDown was not good. Heavy competition, admittedly. Yeah, get rid of it and just do like the odd trade every now and then. Like Jey Uso was a good example. He's got to get the hell out of SmackDown after the split.
Jimmy,
Jimmy, yes. When they did all the Bloodline split stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea. Just do that instead. This stuff it's boring, it's bland, and no one changes brands.
They're not going to stop doing it because of SEO, because people search draft around that time of year, because the NFL draft. But I do think it needs a rethink. Because I can understand elements of it of like, oh, we want to keep these people on our brands. But like you say, it's just not that interesting. And it lessens people's impact. So I just have the draft be people moving shows.
Yeah.
People being brought up from NXT or big stars, no offense to some of the lower down names in the draft who moved shows. But like, no one's like, oh God, Shinsuke's moving shows. It's like, what does that mean for SmackDown?
Yeah.
I don't know, probably a relatively straightforward mid-card title defense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd just save it and just say, either do it on just one night or do it on both nights, but have big moves and just have the person show up and do something rather than just be like, bloody hell, look, they're on a red background now.
Yeah.
Does need a rethink, you're right.
So I would just throw it in the fire and never talk about it again.
SEO, baby.
But then, like, if it doesn't result in good TV ratings, does the SEO even matter?
That might be even worse without SEO. I don't know.
What was the stuff last week? Oh, we've got neck and neck with and then it turned out it didn't. Like, just PR nonsense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed, including Arby's, in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe.
And influencers.
Yes.
Like the guys, the Logan Paul. Specifically.
Good guy. While you're at it, check out this video. We'll be back later on today with the afternoon. See you then.
Bye.